Have you ever looked at your bank account and wondered where all the money went? Not because you faced an emergency, not because life became impossible, but because dozens of small decisions quietly stole your future one purchase at a time. Most people believe financial failure begins with low income. Jesus revealed something far more dangerous. It begins with a heart that spends without wisdom, a habit so common that millions never recognize it until years have disappeared and opportunities are gone. The tragedy is that this habit rarely feels sinful. It feels normal. It feels deserved. It even feels responsible at times. Yet beneath the surface, it slowly shapes a life of constant pressure, endless stress, and a future that never becomes what it could have been. By the end of this video, you will see why one simple spending habit can quietly destroy your future without you noticing. More importantly, you will discover the biblical principle Jesus taught that exposes this pattern before it becomes permanent. Stay with me until the end, because there is one lesson hidden inside one of Jesus' most famous parables that changes the way you look at every dollar you spend. Most Christians have heard the story countless times. Very few have ever connected it to the way they manage money today. We live in a culture that tells us spending is freedom. Advertisements promise happiness with every purchase. Social media convinces us that success must always be visible. Companies compete to make buying effortless. One click, one swipe, one monthly payment that feels too small to matter. None of these decisions seem dangerous on their own, but over months and years they become habits. Habits become character, and character shapes destiny. This is why two people earning the same income can end up living completely different lives. One slowly builds stability and peace. The other lives under constant financial pressure while wondering why nothing ever changes. Jesus often spoke about money not because money was the goal. He understood that money reveals something deeper. In the Gospel of Matthew, Jesus said that where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. He was not teaching that wealth itself is evil. He was revealing that every financial decision points toward whatever already holds first place in the heart. Every purchase becomes a small vote for the life you are creating. Every unnecessary expense quietly trains your desires. Every wise decision strengthens self-control. Long before your financial situation changes, your habits have already determined the direction. Think about how easily this happens. Someone works hard all week. Payday arrives. They feel exhausted. They convince themselves they deserve a reward, a nicer dinner, a new gadget, clothes they did not plan to buy, another subscription that seems inexpensive, another upgrade because everyone else already has it. None of these purchases seem serious, but the same pattern repeats next week, then next month, then next year. Slowly, the emergency fund never grows. Investments never begin. Giving becomes difficult. Opportunities pass by because there is never enough margin. The problem was never a single expensive purchase. It was the invisible habit of choosing immediate satisfaction over long-term faithfulness. But this is not even the deepest issue. There is one detail hidden in the teachings of Jesus that most people completely overlook. Once you see it, you may never look at your spending the same way again. Jesus repeatedly taught that faithfulness is revealed in the small things long before it is rewarded with greater responsibility. In the parable of the talents, a master entrusted his servants with different amounts according to their ability before leaving on a journey. When he returned, he did not judge them by comparison with one another. He judged them by what they had done with what they had already been given. The servants who managed their resources wisely were trusted with more. The servant who failed to act lost even the opportunity he already had. This was never presented as a lesson about becoming rich for the sake of wealth. It was a lesson about stewardship. Everything we possess ultimately belongs to God. Our income, our abilities, our time, our opportunities. The question is never how much you have. The question is what your daily choices reveal about your character. The spending habit that destroys your future begins when you stop seeing money as something entrusted to you and start treating it as something that exists only to satisfy every desire the moment it appears. That shift happens quietly. You receive a raise and immediately upgrade your lifestyle. Your monthly income increases, but so do your monthly expenses. A larger paycheck brings a nicer car, a more expensive phone, more dining out, more impulse purchases that feel harmless because they fit inside the new budget. From the outside, your life appears more successful. Inside, nothing has changed. You still live paycheck to paycheck. You still feel anxious whenever an unexpected bill arrives. You still postpone investing. You still tell yourself you will become generous someday when you earn more. But someday never comes because every increase in income is matched by an increase in spending. Jesus warned about this pattern without ever using modern financial language. He constantly challenged the human tendency to let temporary desires control eternal priorities. One of the greatest financial illusions is believing that small purchases never matter. They do not create panic. They do not appear on the evening news. They rarely force bankruptcy overnight. That is exactly why they become dangerous. A daily coffee is not the problem by itself. Neither is an occasional dinner with friends or buying something you truly need. The danger comes when every emotion demands a purchase. Boredom becomes shopping. Stress becomes online orders. Success becomes expensive rewards. Loneliness becomes another package at the front door. Gradually, spending stops solving practical problems and starts becoming emotional medicine. The purchase provides relief for a few moments. Then the feeling disappears. Another purchase becomes necessary. Without realizing it, people build a cycle where emotions control finances instead of wisdom controlling decisions. This is why Proverbs repeatedly connects wisdom with self-control instead of income. The Bible consistently teaches that a person who cannot govern small desires will eventually struggle with much larger responsibilities. Financial freedom is not created by one brilliant investment. It is usually built through hundreds of ordinary decisions that nobody celebrates. Choosing patience instead of impulse. Saving instead of showing off. Preparing instead of assuming tomorrow will always provide another opportunity. These choices rarely receive applause. Social media will never congratulate you for leaving money untouched in your savings account. Friends may never notice that you quietly avoided unnecessary debt. Yet those invisible decisions become the foundation for visible peace years later. But there is another teaching from Jesus that makes this even more challenging. He exposed a mindset that causes people to spend not because they need something, but because they believe possessions can create security. This subtle deception has trapped countless families regardless of how much they earn. And once you recognize it, you begin to understand why some people always seem to have enough, while others never feel satisfied, no matter how much money flows through their hands. Jesus once told a powerful parable about a wealthy man whose land produced such an abundant harvest that he decided to tear down his barns and build even larger ones. His plan seemed intelligent by human standards. He believed his growing possessions guaranteed a secure future. He said to himself that he now had enough stored up for many years and could relax, eat, drink, and enjoy life. But that very night, his life came to an end. Jesus concluded the story with a warning that being rich in possessions is meaningless if a person is not rich toward God. This was never a condemnation of planning ahead or building wealth. Scripture consistently praises diligence, wise preparation, and faithful stewardship. The warning was against believing that money itself can provide the security that only God can give. That mindset changes the way people spend. Instead of using money as a tool, they begin serving it as a master. They chase every symbol of success, hoping the next purchase will finally make them feel safe. Yet the feeling never lasts because no possession can remove uncertainty from life. That is why Jesus also said, "No one can serve two masters. You cannot serve both God and money." Notice that he did not say people cannot possess money. He said money must never become the thing that possesses the heart. The spending habit that destroys your future is often rooted much deeper than poor budgeting. It begins when identity becomes attached to lifestyle. A person no longer buys what is useful. They buy what proves something. They purchase status, approval, recognition. They feel pressure to keep up with coworkers, friends, neighbors, or strangers they will never meet on social media. Every upgrade becomes an attempt to answer an emotional question. Am I successful enough? Do people respect me? Am I falling behind? Those questions cannot be answered with another purchase. They only become louder over time. Think about how often this happens in business. An entrepreneur earns their first profitable year and immediately rents an office far beyond what the company actually needs. They finance luxury equipment to impress clients. They lease an expensive vehicle because success is supposed to look a certain way. For a while, everything appears impressive. Then sales slow down. Cash flow tightens. Stress replaces confidence. The business was not destroyed by a lack of talent. It was weakened by spending that tried to create an image instead of strengthening a foundation. Jesus consistently taught that wise builders begin with a solid foundation before they focus on appearance. The same principle applies to money. Build stability before luxury. Build reserves before upgrades. Build character before reputation. The same pattern affects families. Parents often want to give their children the very best. That desire comes from love. But sometimes love quietly becomes pressure. Birthdays become competitions. Holidays become opportunities to outspend expectations. Credit cards replace contentment. Debt replaces peace. Children slowly learn that happiness comes from receiving more instead of appreciating what they already have, without intending to. Parents pass down the very spending habits that once trapped them. Breaking that cycle requires more than earning a higher salary. It requires changing the beliefs that guide every financial decision. Here is a simple question that can transform the way you spend. Before buying anything, ask yourself, is this purchase helping build the future I have been praying for? Or is it only satisfying the emotion I feel right now? That single pause creates space for wisdom. Sometimes the answer will still be yes. There is nothing wrong with enjoying the fruit of honest work. Scripture never teaches constant deprivation. But many times that brief moment of reflection reveals that the desire will disappear if you simply wait. The impulse loses its power. Peace replaces pressure. One wise decision may seem insignificant today, yet repeated over months and years, it becomes a completely different financial future.